It's cold in this room. Chilly at the bottom of the mountain. Preparing for the climb. Preparing for the climb. So, hello. I was sitting here and I was like, I need to do this. No plans. A little bit of something that I did. But I needed to do this because I don't know when I can do it. And do it now. So, give me a second here. I'm hearing myself. So, let me get it together here for the impromptu-ness. And I'll say hi in chat. And this is just for later. Rosewater Lightning, hello. And Alex D, hello. Scorpio Muse. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Nicolas. SG, hello in chat. I'm a little chilly. I'm a little weird. I'm a little tired. I'm a little off. But why not? Why not just talk about some important dates? And I don't know what else from there. Okay. Hi, Mercury ascending. Mars says, do it. Alex D, I watched the VOD of your last live and you were talking about how you lose subs on your lives. True. Just wanted to say I'm glad you still do them. Me too. And if people later on don't get what they want, or it's not immediate and it's not cut and dry and it's put there and like, welcome to your blah, blah, blah thing, and I could do that. I mean, I'm going to do it, but not here. Hi, Leanne Patterson. Hello. Cap Rising, Node, and Cap here. Show us how it's done. Saturn action. I'm looking at myself here. I'm like, man, I got to shave and I'm wearing all black. You know, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. Now that makes me feel better to do that. Okay, so let's do this. You know, there's something I've been doing on Instagram the last 4 days. And it's called Jamuary. Jamurary, something like that. It's something that's happened in the music world, synth world, freako world of whatevers for the last so many years. And every day in January, you try to bust out a little jam, a little sound something, a little whatever. And the hashtag is Jamuary 2024 or Jamuary, right? And I'm learning sound. I am learning stuff like this. I am in no way expert at anything, but I'll tell you, it puts you in this space every day to create something. And it's amazing. And I don't know if I'll have time to do one tonight, but if you go look at my Instagram, you'll see the last 3 or 4 days, and I have some visuals that I've been doing and whatever is coming to me before I go to sleep and creating something. And I will try to do this, for the rest of the month, but it's hard to do, but I'm going to go for it. And that's one thing I'm doing on Instagram. But sometimes I need to press buttons and I need to make sound and I need to press live because it's therapeutic for me. And because of my schedule, it's about to happen. I'm not going to have time. But let's do it. Let's talk about, I'm not going to do like I normally do. I'm just going to be a little bit more free for all. I'm actually going to ask for some audience participation here. And before I do this, let's go back to chat. Sharpanda, hello. Darlene, greetings to you. And JC, Utah checking in. I like that. Give love, get love. What's up? Violet, Content Boutique. Hi there, Nicholas. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Violet. And okay, cool. So I don't expect a lot of people today. I don't really care. I'm glad you're here. So let us talk about Nadia Zzz. So appreciate your live stream broadcast. Please keep doing you and your mode of astrology. It's such an awesome and uniquely connective lens to our cosmic experience. Rad. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you very much for saying that and for all the comments here for support, okay? And I was sitting here and I was like, should I do this? Should I go whatever? I was writing some stuff down and I was looking at just certain things with Mars. Mars went into Capricorn this morning at 6:58 a.m. Pacific time, right? So we can I say that I'm happy that it left Sagittarius? Can I say that I can't wait for all of the rest of planets to leave Sagittarius? I'm not a hater. But come on now. So let's do it. I am proportionally weird here. I was making some adjustments. I'm kind of a little scattered because everything's pulled apart for reasons. KC Night Rain, good to see you. So, okay. Mars. And action, ambition, impulse. The god of war, Aries. The force and the strength that Mars brings. The drive. The impatience, yes. The hunter and the heat. The anger and the violence. Headstrong, blood pumping, lustful at times. Competitive and all about action, Mars. Asserting its will in the sign of Capricorn, an earth sign, which it is at home. It feels great there. It feels amazing in the sign of Aries and Scorpio, and it's like second vacation home, which isn't sort of like a vacation, though, while in Capricorn isn't Capricorn. It flows there. It vibes there. It gets shit done there. And, I normally, a long time ago, used to hate Capricorn transits, but now I've come to just completely, I have turned around. This is a long time ago when I was younger. I'm still young. So, I want to say that, and we want to remember all the keywords that I used. We want to remember the responsibility and structure of Capricorn, its need for goals and the achievement of goals, its need for definition. They are architects, and they're cold and dry, I'll tell you that, sometimes. And they're serious. A lot of the time. Not all the time, but we're just talking keywords. Surveyor. Purposeful, achieving. Tradition. Mars in this sign gets shit done. It looks at what's at top of the mountain, will go for it. It uses strength in a steady pace to get up that mountain, to get the goal achieved, to get to the top of a mountain. It's discerning in how it does that. It uses discipline as a basis to get that goal done. So those are some key words for you. And let's bring up the first chart. Hi, GRPG Jelly. Mars was conjunct my Mercury 29. Good. Maximum Rising, hello. And Dolly Nelson, thank you. All right, let's pull up a chart. How did I do this? We're going to go right to the first one, the first aspect that I want to talk about. This particular aspect is on the 9th of January. You can see here at 6:39 p.m. Pacific, the first aspect of Mars sextile Saturn and Pisces, a super cool aspect, a super amazing way to start off the transit, honestly. I mean, Mars is in there right now. We got Scorpio moon tomorrow on the 5th, but pretty much the next big aspect. I'm skipping over other things, and I'll point out along the way, like other transits and shit, right? But basically, Nicholas, you didn't do this again. I have to do something off the screen that you cannot see that is secret. And we could do it this way again. So we're going to go look at Mars here at 4 degrees here on January 9th. If you notice something here, if you're noticing, hi CC99, you notice, and I don't like this either. I do this every time. It's because I'm doing work, and we're going to do blank chart. Okay, so so we make this. Here's 4 degrees Mars in Capricorn, and here's 4 degrees Saturn. And we see this amazing sextile that's happening between the two in the beginning of this transit. And that is happening at 5:24. I don't know what I had up there. 11:19 or 1:19, January 9th. Great way to start off this transit. Saturn rules Mars and Capricorn. And here reinforces the discipline, the patience, and the contemplation, and the well thought out vision that it needs for Mars and Capricorn to get the job done. After blowing its basically everything in Sagittarius and blowhardedness and expanding upon the vision, expanding upon themes, certain things, Mars and Capricorn actually gets it done. And to be honest, I think because of the retrograde is happening right now, or did happen with Mercury and Sagittarius, all that, really wants to cut through the BS. It's just over it, okay? It's just over it. It's over the preaching and the prophet, as in the prophet preaching, and it gets serious about things. Nice to have the vision. Time to get serious. So basically, Saturn here loves this, and Mars loves this. You look to the Pisces part of your chart, and you look to the Capricorn part of your chart, you're like, good. You first Saturn return people that have planets, or your first Saturn returns happening, that demographic, do you actually watch me? Am I not cool enough? Am I not hip enough? For my demographic that is 35 to 60, which is women, which is you watching. And if you happen to be a Saturn returnist, thank you. This really is good for you, especially coming for a Saturn return year, to have this connection with Mars, and to have, since last March when Saturn went into Pisces, to have this on your side, to have Mars connect and this conduit of opportunity where they're speaking in a great way to each other to get it done, at least to put it on paper. At least the architect has the map and the structure to get it done, to climb the mountain. So, wake me from this. Good to see you in chat, by the way. So, Scout 2. So, basically, the achievements that Mars in Capricorn is going for, Saturn here in Pisces helps start to Not just take the vision, but put it together for the structure to get it done. That happens on January 9th. Interesting thing here is, mathematically, technically here, next week slowly, you can't see Mars in the sky yet, but it's starting to happen, and it will. And by the time we get into the end of the month, it will start to be faint in the sky, kind of close to Mercury. When Mercury's going to be in Capricorn at the end of the month, Mars is starting to show itself. Mars is basically mathematically and astrologically, by this time, the 9th, and slowly coming out, it's what they call coming out of the beams of the sun. We have not been able to see Mars since the way back in Scorpio before that, because it was Mars and Scorpio went together with the sun and disappeared, right? Now it's a Capricorn, and we still can't really see it out there yet, but it's happening. It's there. You feel it. You feel it. And it just, it has this feeling as, with Mercury moving forward at the beginning of the year, Jupiter moving forward here. Mars, too, will now start to show itself eventually, weeks down the line, slowly coming out of the combust of the sun, lost in the rays of the sun. It's coming out of that. So let's throw that in there, too. This is important for you to remember. As this transit of Mars keeps going and hits different planets and aspects, the more it gradually is getting to show itself too, okay? At the end of the month, then we get into February. Lisa, finishing the second Saturn return, this one goes out to you too. And Cyborg Memoirs, good to see you. And the sound I hear of Cosmic Supermarkets, good to see you. So let's go to the next date. Okay. And let's do this since did I do this right? Yeah. There we go. You can see where I'm going here. You can see basically on the 4 degrees, Mars, sextile Saturn and Pisces, and that's what's going on. And I will manually do that. Another thing. Let's go to the next deal. Okay, and that is going to be something that happens. Oh, did I get this right? I might have to go look at my slides because I added something, didn't I? Didn't I do that? Yeah, I'm going to manually do that. And then I put something on the 10th. You see what I put there? I put Mars conjunct Moon in Capricorn. I don't normally do this. And we could do it right here, actually. We can show here. That's what I meant earlier. I remember, I don't care if I'm all over the stream today, but you could see the moon here. Basically, the moon is going to conjunct Mars here on the 10th officially, and then it's going to do it again, at the end of the transit. And I wanted to point this out, too, to show how strong Mars can be, too, besides these other aspects it's going to make to when the moon's in Capricorn. And let us not forget that, what I'm showing you here on the 9th, I might just do it. Let's go green. Is we're going to look at Uranus at 19 degrees, and we see the trine that happens actually next week, and that day is a Sun-Uranus trine. Let's just point it out, okay? And we see the moon comes into Capricorn right over here. Very strong, very moving, with Saturn involved here too. Got Uranus and Saturn involved in a beginning of next week, and it's all in a balsamic phase. And what I mean by that is you're looking at the moon coming in to Capricorn, getting ready for the new moon that's going to happen at 20 degrees Capricorn on the 11th of January, and we are getting ready for that. But before that happens, you got Uranus Sun trine. So the sun in Uranus illuminating this flash of new, this flash of something coming forward. Fascinating, too, because of what the beginning of the year is and what we are dealing with here with transit-wise when we are dealing with January and February and how it's propelling us into this year. That has to do with Pluto going into Aquarius again, so on and so forth. So we have this thing, and we have, again, Saturn, Mars, sextile, Moon conjunct Mars, and we have Uranus and the Sun, all within 48 hours, basically. Okay, so anyway, let's keep going. I'm not going to look at chat because y'all are being goofy over there probably. So let me go to the next thing. And it is going to be something that happens on the 12th. And do I have it here? Yes, I do. Here is January 12th, 2:41 a.m. Pacific time. So this varies depending on where you are. And we will show you here Mars now is at 5 degrees. Okay. And we're going to Jupiter and Taurus at 5 degrees. You see how cool so far this Mars transit is. I'm not saying that everything's all candy because it never is in astrology. It's not all bad either. But you could see the trine that's happening, an Earth-based trine. Now, after having its mess around with some other planets here, Jupiter and Taurus comes in to expand upon this journey, this mountain climb that Mars is doing, this goal-oriented, to get the achievement, to have the achievement happen. And Jupiter, elevates and expands and philosophizes and makes things bigger in the bigger picture. But we dig it because it's all happening in Earth here between Taurus and Capricorn, and it's still grounded. You know what I mean? It's still grounded. So this is happening on the 12th. The next, I think, the major Mars aspect is this trine to Jupiter. Let us just point out that moon is in Aquarius at that time, so on and so forth. There's other things I could see here. Let's just point it out. We're almost done with this Mercury and Sag stuff. I didn't even talk about the square that happens, to... Do I talk about this? Listen, I mentioned the 9th, right? We like Mars and Saturn together, okay? We mentioned the Uranus Sun trine. Just know that right now, as I'm doing this, all the way until next week, we do have Mercury and Sagittarius applying its square to Neptune for the 3rd time. I don't trust that mother effing aspect. I think at this point, I'm over it. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're catching some inspiration from it. Maybe maybe it was a great way to expand upon something in your life through an imaginatory realm. To me, I just don't like the possible, I'll just say it, the possible fibbing and lying and untruths and the preaching of the untruths, which seems to be true, and coming in some vessels of that to make it look that way, how convincing it can be in Mercury and Sagittarius with Neptune. I'm over it, way over it. I'm more into the action-oriented part of things here with the other stuff. Just a caution. Even though we're out of Mercury retrograde and it's slowly moving forward, I think it's playing more tricks than it did during the retrograde here. So that's just a side note here. It won't make sense looking at this chart because Mercury's already past the square with Neptune. But just the next 5 or 6 days, 7 days, I think could be more Mercury retrograde feeling, even though Mercury's going direct, than it has been, okay? So just keep that in mind. So anyway, this is the 12th. I'm pointing out the Mars. Man, I'm just... my Mars-Jupiter trine. Dig it. I dig it. Let's keep going. Since this is the impromptu live stream, I don't even know what time it is where y'all are at. Hi, Jade in chat, and hello, Aesthetic Delta, Lucy Fur. Good to see you too. All right, so let's keep going. The next aspect, actually, one probably I was completely going to forget about this, and it actually happens on January 25th where I am, and it's here where we have Mars square Chiron, and this is difficult. And for those dealing with the Chiron story, here's Mars and Mercury together, conjunct at 15 degrees, and here we see Chiron really close to the node here, and Chiron's now moving forward because it was retrograde there until like the end of the year. It moved forward. End of the year was last week. So we want to catch this. We want to pay attention to this because Mars and Capricorn can be with determination, can be very cold and brutal and non-emotional, right? It's not going to show its emotion per se. And if it's any emotion, it's going to be very, not based on anger, but a certain type of will that comes across. There ain't no tears here pretty much on the outside at least. And ain't going to show no worry. maybe on the inside. That's why part of Capricorn story sometimes is the anxiety and worry that you cannot see what they're having actually propels them to get shit done. So I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but hey, that's the deal sometimes. But here, Mars that rules Chiron and Aries, there's a square here. I don't think it'd be so bad because of the Chiron and Aries story of understanding where it's been and all the work that's been doing here for this long transit. But it can get sore here. It's kind of funky, And so sometimes our Aries, when they're raw and if they have to defend themselves, and Mars and Capricorn with Mercury there, the words are straight to the point, and it's all business. And depending on the Chiron story in Aries there, if it's affecting you, this all business might not seem sensitive or open to your sensitivities, open to the wound. It depends on how integrated one is with their Chiron and Aries story. And if they've been working on this, even if they're not working on it, like the understanding of what's going on, of the integrated self, the integrated wound, and the ways we do this, the way we deal with it. So good can come out of this. Capricorn wants to get the job done. It's basically telling Chiron and Aries, you've been taking your medicine. Come on, you need to do this because you need to wound up. Come on, let's go, buck up. It could be that type of thing, which could be really hard depending on the individual and the person. So let's just point it out. Mercury's along with this, with Mars at 14, 15 degrees, squaring Chiron. That happens on the 25th. That is exact at 9:15 a.m. Are you noticing something in this chart before I get to it? This so happens to be the 25th is a full moon in Leo. That happens that day at 5. You can see it's 4 degrees here, but within a degree, the full moon happens at this day of Mars square, Mercury and Mars square Chiron. And in a wide way, you could say the nodes here. That it's happening. But we also need to point out that Pluto is with the sun here. The sun already went through Pluto. I didn't talk about that's another forecast. But you could see on this week on the 25th, full moon day in Leo, and you see the supporting cast members here. Venus is in Capricorn, Mercury, Mars, it's all there, kind of squaring the nodes, squaring Chiron. We get a little bit of help from Jupiter with Venus there, but let's just be real. It's a full moon in Leo the day that Mars squares Chiron, okay? All right. This thing's building in this chart if you're paying attention. There's some other stuff. Nadia DZZ. Thank you for the first super chat you put on this channel, because that's why it's the number one with the balloon. It looks like I have a cookie on top. It looks like a cookie on top of the balloon. If anybody's looking at chat right now, they look like that tells you what mood I'm in. I want cookies. Nadia DZZ, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I could see what that means. You're coming maybe from the northern hemisphere, from the northern part of the U.S. possibly. Thank you so much. Great way to start my year. My first super chat of the year. Salute to you, Nadia D, for the first one. And thank you very, very much. So that's the 25th. Chiron happens to be the full moon in Leo, 4 degrees. I could talk more about that if I really wanted to. Gotta keep going. So let's talk about the next aspect. And so I do this just so I do this because because I made this. Is it here? Gonna let me do it? Why won't it let me I have to go back to this? Nicolas. Always play even when not visible. Well, I'm playing it right now. Why won't it do it? Will it do it here? I'm having some problems. I'm looking for my slideshow and it's not there. What? I don't understand. I'm like putting it. What the hell is going on? Why? Okay. What the fuck? Is it this one? No. Keep going, Nicholas. I don't need the slideshows right now. That's a way to retain viewers. No wonder I'm losing subscribers. Okay, let's keep going. let's go officially to something here. I will just bump it up a day, 3 days, and I'll switch out the chart here, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here when we have Mars at 18 now with Mercury. They're conjunct here. You see Mars and Mercury are passed over, and then the nodes at 18 degrees here in basically Aries and Libra. You could see the square happening here between them. Big moment here, because this is actually in one way connected to a longer nodal eclipse story. And when we have these major eclipses that happen in the end of March and on April 8th, that big American one that's going to happen, it's pretty close to these degrees actually. At 16 possibly, I think, with Chiron. So this is a moment in that particular story if you're affected by it. By the way, if you have your nodes in Libra and in Aries, hit me up for a reading. I might put, if you want something, you hit me up for a reading. I'll come up with a price if you can't afford it. It's usually I'm $180 for the hour or something like that. But if you are like whatever and you happen to have these nodes, this only applies to somebody who's got Libra and Aries nodes. Okay, so hit me up. But anyway, I just want to mention this. This particular point's a big deal. And hell, why not? Because of the marvels of technology that we do something here that I pull that up. So let's pull up this chart and I'll bust it out here. Now on the outside here is actually April 8th eclipse chart. So you could see basically the eclipse is happening. The new moon is at 19 degrees. You see Chiron there. You see Mercury's going to be retrograde in Aries. It's going to be retrograde in fire signs again this whole year. So, but you see 15 here, and you could see what I'm talking about the degrees of what's around the solar eclipse that happens. And that basically, on the inside here, you see 18 degrees here that I'm talking about on the 28th here when Mars and Mercury square the nodes. You see what I'm talking about here? Good to see you, Cyborg Memoirs. Cheers to you, okay? Good to see you. Paula, good to see you in chat. Azura, glitches just make it more fun. That's the attitude. That's the attitude we should all take. If we're looking into the future in ones and zeros, this may be the year of glitching. The glitching and submitting and letting go to the glitches in our life and to take advantage of the glitches in our life. Or whatever, Nicholas. Okay, so let's point out something else before I leave on the 28th here. Just because we're also going to point out that day Mars at 18 degrees here with Mercury is, applying towards a mega trine that's happening between Mars and Uranus right here. So besides it squaring the nodes, Mars's story here is getting really interesting again because of its connection to Uranus. And we're not official on that. I'll show the official chart. We're also going to point out here that it's not close, but you see what's happening with. I gotta point it out. How can I not point this out? Venus at 6 degrees, Jupiter and Taurus. We have a Venus-Jupiter trine that's happening too on the same day. Amazing astrology, really great. Fun astrology this month. I think it's not all easy, but it's moving and it starts to feel really good at times. I feel this way. So again, let's point out on the 28th, multiple Venus-Mars things happenings here with the nodes. Venus connecting with Uranus, Mars connecting with Uranus. No. Venus trines Jupiter. Mars and Mercury trine Uranus on the next day officially. Okay, let's get it straight. So, what am I gonna do on Venus-Jupiter day in Earth signs? Like, here's a thought. I just because. Regardless of the Earth signs, so if we take Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Let's just say we take it from a sensual, ritualistic point of view of sensuality and sexuality. There's what's in our minds, right? There's the things that we have like with fantasy or how we think about things, or our attitude towards sensuality and sexuality, right? There's all that. But there's something about the earth signs when we're dealing with those subject matters where it is very raw, you know. And okay, there's the different raw of like the sexual power of something like Mars and Aries, okay? But there's something else about the power of that way with Mars and Capricorn, what that can do. You know, there's a stability and a persistence and a long-term thing if it's flowing right. Because, by the way, it doesn't mean that every Mars and Capricorn has like a persistent, long, like a libido type of thing. I actually think it can be masked and kind of stuck if it doesn't have the help of other planets. Okay, so anyway, just on a basic level, if we think about Venus trining Jupiter, this is like, once the fire is lit, and let's say there actually is a fire and there's like, I don't know why the hell I got some weird imaging of like animal furs on the cement castle floor, and then like we just had a hearty meal and there's this ale or something, and we let down our like guard, the armor's off, and then there's this kind of passionate, earthy kind of kiss, let's say. So, you know, that kind of thing of moving through earth signs and the sensuality and sexuality through earth signs. So you have Jupiter enhancing that in Taurus, right? I mean, I like it. It could be cool. And not only that, you have Mars and Capricorn that week or that day. Just not even think about the other transits, fucking politics and shit, all that kind of stuff. Can we just like, can I indulge my thing? Can we just do this? Can somebody that day, that Sunday the 28th, that weekend, can somebody just do this out there? Take advantage of this and feel things that way, and know that whether it's Virgo through its ritualism too, and it's moving through the dark and dirt to be clean and purified, and vice versa, or the way Capricorn is persistently catching the passionate white light that they carry, and how Jupiter and Taurus brings that abundance and indulgence through the senses, and Venus, you see what's happening here. You know, just something to think about. (619) Mars will square the nodes on the 28th, and you see what else is happening with Venus and Jupiter, and what's happening with Mars and Uranus, Mercury and Uranus, okay? So, Cookerzilla, good to see you. And Lucy Fur, speaking of furs, 11T Levity, cheers to you. Yeah, take one for the team, Azure. Take one for the team. Report back on your mission. Let's keep going. So the 29th, to do this officially, you see here 3:40 p.m. on the 29th, which is going into Monday, that we do have the official, and the chart's going to move here. You see Mars at 19. I just went off on this. Well, this is with Uranus. Now add that, okay? Add that, and you see the amazing trine that's happening here. I'm all up, man. Mars is happening again at this point. Let's point something out here. You see where Mars is at 19 degrees with Mercury. Now, if you're catching this, if you're looking at this point here, Mercury starts to is visible, and I think at this point on the 28th, 29th, at the end of the month, if one had a telescope or binoculars, they maybe catch Mars and start to catch it. But it's starting to happen out there, and you see how the power is building outwards. Again, preface or disclaimer. At the same time, Mars that feels great in Capricorn, it doesn't fuck around. And we have to be careful here, because sometimes, because of its persistence and whatever, it kind of just doesn't hear anything else. It doesn't take anything else into account. And so from a bigger perspective, when we deal with what Mars deals with, power situations and the wielding of power through a sign like Capricorn, if we think about on the political level, what this is, if Mars is slowly getting stronger and showing itself out there and then on a political mundane level, there's power moves being made this whole time. with these aspects that I mentioned so far in this live stream the whole time. There's that way of looking at it. I, in particular, would rather stay in the castle floor version of what I just told you and forget the politics. But let's be real. Mars is a player here the next 2 months, big time. And the way it's showing itself coming out from out of the sun and itching to get it done, to wield its power, is a definite part of all this. And if you're paying attention here, you see it's doing this with Mercury, and it's coming for a couple other planets, another big one, which we will get into. So basically, that is the 29th right there. Let's just point that out, okay? So I must keep going. We're going to zip along here because we're only talking about Mars, sort of ish. And you could see here, I'm going to go to the 7th of February, if you could believe this. And it's the February 7th here, or February 8th, if you're looking at this, 11:52 Pacific on the 7th, and then to the 8th, right? So let's check it out. Let's see where Mars is on the next big aspect. And you could see here, why I'm bringing this up, you see the moon is conjunct Mars. You see Mars is at 26 degrees right here. And it makes a pretty chill, pretty cool thing. Oh, this is with the moon, but it already did this. I kind of skipped here, but you could see that it makes a sextile with Neptune here also. And so it's kind of finishing off its transit with a Neptunian influence, interestingly enough. And, you know, which is fed by Jupiter here in Taurus ruling Pisces, so Neptune and Pisces. But we point this out. There's the other Mars. There's the second Mars moon conjunction in Capricorn with a huge Neptunian influence. We can look at this at different ways. It's not like huge and dramatic. I think Neptune mutes a little bit of the power in Mars, even in this great way that they're opportunistically communicating and connecting with each other. But there's something here that dissolves a little bit of the brawn and at this point in the transit, just all the hard work. And I think at this point it's needed, and with a little bit of a break, a little bit of a spot of dissolving some of the remnants of the journey up the mountain and still giving a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of a tweak to finish the journey out. And I could say inspiration, or a different way of aspiring to. You know, these are Jupiter words, but Jupiter does rule this Neptune and Pisces. And so, you know, we want to look at, you know, there's the transcendence part of all this, right? And there is the inspirational part, but there's also, like, we can't forget the unconscious types of things that happens with whenever Neptune touches anything. And here, for all the power of Mars and Capricorn and all its connections to these planets is done so far, we haven't really talked about what is beyond, or for what comes up from within that we cannot see, or that's been there, something like the unconscious. And so here Neptune brings that. I think opens up Mars and Capricorn, and at times, you know, yeah, and it could be within like a contemplative solitude type of place here too, but not in like a hard, cold Saturnian way, but in a Neptune way, like that kind of solitude, that kind of rehabilitative place, that kind of divine place, right? So we want to, we're noting this on the 7th. We also want to note something else that's happening here roughly, and I will show you here that happens to be, we see Venus now in Capricorn at 19 degrees, and it's making its trine to Uranus at 19 degrees also. And so you see how this beginning week of February, what's happening with Venus at this point will be in Capricorn. It's going to set off. Talk about to get set off. It's going to get set off by Uranus. And for that alternative way, that spark, that progressive way, that lightning bolt to come through and shake up that Venus and Capricorn in a way where it can understand and it's accepting and receptive to the new something that Uranus brings. And so that happens on the same day. Take a deep breath, Nicholas. Let's just note, Sun is in Aquarius. I won't even talk about some stuff that's already happened in this chart, which so awesome and huge, but you see it building. And if you're noticing here, Venus is starting to catch up to Mars. Starting to move faster to catch up to Mars. It's interesting here. They're kind of on the opposite side. Whatever the case is, let's keep going. So that happens then. And then let's get to the last thing I want to bring up, and it has to do with here. And so here on February 12th, pretty much when the transit is done, we have Mars that goes into Aquarius. And it's at this point, basically, that Pluto is already gone into Aquarius. I'll bring that chart up in here in a sec. Actually, let me do it right now. Let's do it right now. Let's just show this because of how tight it is. We didn't talk about Uranus moving forward at the end of January, and that's okay. We're not doing that because of this a random live stream. So we will calculate this chart here. This is January 20th right here. Let's just note that this is when Pluto goes back into Aquarius, and when it does it with the sun. Okay, so Pluto goes back in at 0 degrees, and it does it with the sun in Aquarius at 0. ¿Comprendes? Okay, so now we go back to here on the 12th. When Mars goes into Aquarius, it never hits Pluto like you would think it would have hit Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn, that Mars would have his conjunction there, but it doesn't. Even it's out of sign, even though it's there, 29 degrees, it's applying there. It's coming close, but it officially happens basically at 0 degrees here is when Mars ends its transit, and since it starts the new Aquarius transit with Pluto. It's just imprinted with Pluto off the bat. Now, this is no joke. No effing around here. And if those of you who are studying astrology, you're astrologers, some of you are, you know this goes back to a very important cultural milestone, world milestone that happened in 2020 when the Jupiter in Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius made their conjunction to end a cycle and start a new one at 0 degrees Aquarius. Here we are here now in the beginning of the year, and we're getting set off. If we're in a presidential year, massive politics, massive drama, economics, everything that's out there, we have a huge marker, a huge point here. If you have anything in fixed signs at 0 degrees, you want to talk about it, you hit me up for a session. If you know your astrology, please note this. Please. Big deal. We are going to hit this point again. It's later on in the fall. We're going to have the retrograde with Pluto and Aquarius. It's going to go back into Capricorn at 29 degrees for, I think it's 2 months-ish, a little bit more than that. And then it's going to hit the 0 again. And so we have two major big points here with 0 degrees Aquarius with Pluto. Here's one of them, and it's imprinted by Mars. And I don't want to do predictions. But let's call it the year of the glitch. Let's stick to the glitch. Can you roll with the glitch? Can you become the glitch? Are you the glitch? That's what it really is all about. And the glitch happens because something needs to change. Let's just say something is glitching out because it's not connecting, or it's glitching into something new. That's one way to put it. So yeah, I'm seeing a weird chat here. Like maybe you could put all your words in one sentence. That would be great because I'm seeing it taking over the chat there. So anyway, Jackie, by the way, good to see you in chat there. So, all right, let's be done. I sure like to find my slideshow. Let's just point out here on the 12th when this happens with Mars, that there's something else interesting. Just let's do it. And then I'm going to shut my mouth and drink some water. Is Venus at 25 degrees. Is also sextiling Neptune around that time. You could see that right. I wish I could curve these markers, and I have to figure, can I do that? Because that's like, oh, there. I see. No, let's do it this way. I could go Venus sextiles Neptune right here. That means it's like this, a sextile. So that's what you have going on over there. Okay. So, I'd sure like to do something here, and while I talk like this and look to the side, please don't feel weird. But I'm going to play. There it is. All right. We see January 9th, Mars sextile Saturn in Pisces at 4 degrees. With the 10th, which is pretty much the same time, we have Mars conjunct the moon in Capricorn at 4 degrees. Next big aspect is Mars trine Jupiter in Taurus, an amazing aspect. Please take advantage of this in Earth signs. We see on the 25th of January, then Mars will square Chiron in Aries at 15 degrees, which really is part of a Mars squaring the nodes. Remember these charts when we looked at them, there's more going on those days. You know, we're talking with the full moon and all that. We also want to check out and remember that on the 29th, Mars will trine Uranus in Taurus. Great aspects for the most part for Mars and Capricorn. Fast forwarded to the 7th, Mars sextile Neptune in Pisces at 25. And at the 7th and 8th, we talk about that Mars conjunct again the second time with the moon in Capricorn, really strong anytime Mars and the moon are connecting. And then we get to the end of the transit here with Mars going into Aquarius on the February 12th and 13th. Mars ingress into the sign of the water bear on the 13th. As mentioned, we have Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius weirdo degrees. I had to leave that because I tagged something like Aquarius weirdo, which is really 0 degrees. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying, right? Yeah, that's me. That's me. And that's, no, Nicholas. Again, do I, Aquarius, let's just say it again. I'm a weirdo. By the way, I have a major Aquarius in my chart. So you ever wonder why it gets funky on here? It's you would think it's the Gemini, but it's really the Aquarius weirdo in me. Yes. So that's what's up. Thanks for going off on a journey with me. I decided to do this 10 minutes before. I made those slides. I was going to use them for something else. And then I'm like, I can use them for later. I'll just press go live and deal with whatever comes next. And the rambling and the beginning of my year and I think the most important thing on this stream was it about Jupiter, about earth signs and sensuality? Maybe that's the snippet I should take out for like a story. Who cares about the rest of the stuff? Really, in the end, that's all really people care about. It's what they want. We come from an orgasm. We walk towards orgasm. We're mad at the orgasm. We have wounds from the orgasm. We still want the orgasm. We heal the wounds through the orgasm. Everything comes from the orgasm. We deserve it in a healthy, shameless way. There's somebody out there, if they're watching, they know who they are. I want to say something about that on a deeper level, but they're going to say it. And it got my mind thinking about stuff lately in a conversation I've had recently, just about what love is in other ways and what we as human beings do in conflict in certain ways and the solutions and the ways we react to things. You know. And we all have a guard up and we have our reasons for protection. It's legit, you know. Come into the world and it's fucking chaos. Some people, like if they got major Pluto signatures in their chart, like they're coming through the world automatically in survival mode, pure survival mode. So I can understand what people have to do to take care of themselves, to survive because of tragedies and wrongdoings and shit. But in the end, can one person, can a group of people, can lovers and partners, can community, can the world remind themselves how to change and react to things when conflict happens, when bad things happen, I'm not the solution person, but I'm just thinking about the basic things that we do and the tools that we have to take care of ourselves, to make ourselves feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot that is put onto that to make it feel like it's wrong with that. Whether religion does it or people's ethics, the way you should do this and the rules should be that way. Nothing should get in the way of one's personal autonomy. And if that, because of the autonomy, if it's there and it's our sexuality, the way we deal, our sensuality, everything connected to that, and it brings us to that place of connecting to ourselves that is healing and feels right, and it's not harmful to oneself or to anybody else, what the hell else is there? I mean, why isn't that the go-to place? We do this through creativity, right? In our many ways, and we do it through sex, and we can do that, right? Again, I think it has to be in a healthy, supportive way. It's not toxic. It's not fucked up. And someone has to know what that is for themselves, right? Or discover that eventually. But also at the same time, the world and groups and society have to come and support that. But it doesn't a lot of the times. It supports other things that aren't feel good, really. And I think really because of based out of fear, what humans do with fear and control, right? So, just something, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I wasn't planning on this, but maybe that's the glitch that we're talking about. It's just something that we always known. Connection to ourselves, the way we love ourselves, the power in that, the ultimate power in that. We come from it. We started from it. And even if it doesn't seem that way, we could change that story and make it yours again. I want to thank everybody for jumping in on live stream. Darlene, I see you in chat. Violet, Earthstara. Jackie, wake me from this. Sex sells. It sure does. Titi and X, wounds from the orgasm got to be the video title. That'd be funny. Yeah. Scorpion Muse. My Pluto's in Scorpion. I've been feeling the death and rebirth of self and circumstances. That whole generation deals with that in certain ways. I think that a generation of Pluto and Scorpio at some point gets to a place, though, where you gotta take it for yourself, and not in a selfish way. And I mean, what I mean by power is there's a rebellion or asking people who are in power, whatever, you did this, you didn't give us that. Perfect opportunity to take it or create it for oneself, herald something else in, I think we're going to see a lot of that type of energy in the next couple years. Remember, Pluto goes into Aquarius. Uranus eventually is going to go into Gemini. Got a huge air stuff coming our way. This is the beginning of it this year. So we get another hint in June when Jupiter is going to go into Gemini. Right? So we're going to have Jupiter in Gemini with Pluto and Aquarius connections. Anyway, good to see you all. Thanks for being here and going on the flow with me. Maybe a weekly forecast for next week. I don't think so. Very busy, and there's something important I have to do here in the next 10 days. And so I might be laying low a little bit with content. That's all right because it's really to work on something else here. But I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the super chat that I got. Pretty good for not even saying anything. Like 35 to 40 of you come in here. That's wild that I could do this, that I have this. Mark Anthony, good to see you. I'm winding down, but good. Thanks for stopping in. You have any questions, you're interested in a session or reading, you can hit me up. You go to the website and book. You're broke. You don't have all the money at once. I do payment plans. Find a contact me thing through whatever's and hit me up. You wish someone you knew, you want to buy them a reading and blah, blah, blah. I got gift certificates on the website now. If you need a payment plan to do the gift certificate, email me and hit me up. It's the beginning of the year and you are looking at yourself in the mirror and there's all this stuff going on in the world and it seems like whatever, but you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I want this and I want to this year of this. Like you gave yourself, this is my year of so on and so forth. You pick your tarot cards. A lot of people I know are doing tarot pulls for the beginning of the year. They did them as their guide. Good for you. Stick to it. Don't let anything get in your way. And when the times it does, you go hit up your practitioners to help you. You go up to people that you trust, your friends, your crew, to have your back so you can speak your mind freely, whether you have to pay for money for the services or not, or do whatever, go do it. Like go have your crew to support you. The distractions, the world, the internet, everything that will come at you. There's going to be dramatic stuff that's going to happen this year. We already know a presidential election in the U.S., so you already know that's going to be full of shit. It's just going to be drama, okay? So let's take that out of the mix. But there's going to be other stuff. So just remember, what throws you off your path, if you see and you know what it is already, you could turn off the phone, you can block people, you don't have to do any of that. You have to do nothing. If there's anything you take from this at the very end here, let's say with Mars and Capricorn, if you want to embody that, you focus on that right now and you see the transits happening in the next month and a half. They're pretty good from the Mars perspective for the most part. They're pretty good. Go for it. Get it done. Set yourself up for the rest of the year. It's not that easy all the time, whatever, but hell, you can't give up. Don't give up. Try. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Try. Look at your wins. Make sure you pat yourself on the back for the small things. And when it's off, you acknowledge that too. You got to shed your tears. But when you pull something off, and it could be so simple, like today I didn't shed a tear or I was able to do this, tell yourself that. Look at yourself and tell you that I pulled that off. And I'm climbing the mountain slowly. And at this point in the journey, I did this. Good job, Nicholas. Good job. Say your name, fill in the blank. The slow grind, the slow, determined story of Mars and Capricorn is a great guide and lesson for a lot of people because we're dealing with tangibles. We're dealing with things that we can touch and do and mold in the physical universe. And a lot of times that's where we get things reflected back to ourselves as a result. It's not just in our mind and our hearts. Sometimes we need to have it manifested, right? Sometimes you need to climb the mountain. You need to taste the dirt. You need to get the mud on your shoes and to sweat. It's all part of the deal. You need to move in that way, in that earth type of way. So I think there's a lot of it here, that type of ritual and the investment in that ritual and the determination put in something like that where you can get results. And I'm not talking about like the results on your internet feed for what personal trainers telling you or self-help psychologists, all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to diss on them. I'm talking about the results that you have for yourself that have nothing to do with anybody else. Like the thing that is like, oh, I did this. All right, next step. This is, if I go easy and slow, but steady. And when I fall off, get back in. Doesn't have to happen all at once. All right, let me say goodbye to chat. Ginger, hey, what's up? Go. Thanks for joining here late. Wake me from this. That's a name. This is my year of fashion. So even if the world is burning, I'm going to look good. Oh, shit, man. Yeah, might as well look good doing it. You know what? The world's crumbling or whatever, but if you happen to look good, you're going to run to somebody else, and the world's crumbling and look at each other. What's it come back down to again? Hey, man, you looking good. I think you look good too. Let's talk. So while the fires are burning and the mountain's crumbling, you're looking good and kissing somebody or something. Shit. All right, Casey Night Rain, and I'll see you all, okay? Let me do something and I'll get out of here. How long am I going in here? Oh, an hour. I'm doing pretty good. No drop frames? Yes, Nicholas. For those who know what I'm talking about, this is like, dialing the technology in. Even on a Wi-Fi signal, I pulled this thing off. All right, let's do something. That's 5 and 6. No, why is that?